You know, sometimes life doesn't break you with loud tragedies. Sometimes it breaks you with a quiet betrayal from the very person you once held close to your heart. I'm a grown woman now. I've lived long enough to see joy, pain, and everything in between. But nothing prepared me for the day my own sister destroyed my world. This is the story of how she stole the man I loved. How she walked right into my happiness and tore it apart. And how I gave her a gift she will remember for the rest of her life. So sit down, breathe deep. Because this one cuts deep. My name is Monica Harris, a 42-year-old black woman from Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm the oldest daughter in my family, and let me tell you, I lived my whole life carrying responsibility like it was stitched into my skin. Growing up, Mama used to tell us, "You girls gotta stick together, this world ain't soft for women like us." I believed that. I believed in sisterhood, in loyalty, in family above all. Which is why what happened hurt in a way I still feel in my bones. My little sister Janelle was always the wild one. She had beauty that made people stare twice, a laugh that filled a whole room, and trouble following her like a shadow. I loved that girl more than she ever understood. When our parents passed, I became her second mother. I worked extra shifts, skipped vacations, did everything to keep her on the right path. College applications. I filled them out for her. Rent money. I paid it. Broken hearts. I listened to them at 3 a.m. I gave and gave and gave. And she took without ever wondering how tired I was. But that's what big sisters do, right? Or at least that's what I thought. When I met Aaron, I was 38, a little older, a little wiser, a little more careful with my heart. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud. He was steady, calm. A man who spoke gently and loved deeply. We met at a hospital benefit gala. He approached me with a smile and said, "You look like the kind of woman who knows exactly who she is." Lord, I felt that line in my spine. We fell in love slowly, the way grown people do. With honesty, with effort. With no mind games. After 2 years he proposed. A small, quiet evening. Just him, me, candlelight, and soft music humming in the background. He held my hands and whispered, "Monica, you've carried other people your whole life. Let me carry you for a while." Tears rolled down my cheeks. I said yes. Of course I said yes. I thought I finally had my happy ending. If only I knew. My happiness wasn't the only thing watching that moment. Someone else was watching too. Someone I trusted. Janelle didn't meet Aaron until after we got engaged. She showed up at my house with her usual dramatic entrance. "Girl, let me see this man who thinks he good enough for my big sister." She laughed, hugged him, twirled her hair, acting sweet and charming. Too charming. But I ignored it. She was family. During the next few months, she started dropping by more often. Staying longer. Asking questions about Aaron. Flirting in ways she pretended were jokes. "Aaron, you cook better than my ex, damn, maybe I should have met you first." She'd laugh. He'd smile politely and change the subject. I brushed it off. Because who wants to believe their own sister could cross those lines? But something in my gut, something old and familiar, started whispering, "Be careful, Monica." I didn't listen. I should have. One night I was sitting on the couch, planning wedding details. Aaron's phone buzzed beside me. A message. From Janelle. It read, "Tonight, same time." My heart paused. I opened the conversation, my hands shaking, and what I saw ruined the air around me. Dozens of messages, long messages, deep messages, messages that only lovers should share. She told him secrets. He told her fears. They met behind my back, at coffee shops, bars, parks. She called him my peace. He called her my escape. I couldn't breathe. My sister. My own sister. I heard the front door open. Aaron walked in, smiling like a man who had nothing to hide. I closed the phone slowly, stood up and asked him, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" He paused, just for a second too long. And that silence, that hesitation, it told me everything. Aaron sat down, face in his hands. He didn't deny it. He didn't lie. He whispered, "I didn't mean for it to happen. But it happened. They betrayed me. Together." My chest felt tight. My throat burned. My hands shook. My world didn't crash. It shattered quietly, like a glass slipping from your hand, breaking before you realize it fell. I drove to Janelle's place that night. I didn't knock. I walked straight in and found her sitting on the couch, smiling at her phone. My stomach twisted. She looked up and froze. "Monica, what are you doing here?" Her voice shook. Her eyes darted. She knew. The anger inside me wasn't fire. It was ice. Cold. Sharp. Still. I said only 5 words. "You betrayed me, both of you." She dropped her phone. Her face went pale. She tried to defend herself. "It's not what you think." But I held up my hand. "No, I read everything." She sank onto the couch, silent. The house felt too small for both our breathing. Finally, she whispered, "I didn't mean to fall for him." I laughed. A hollow, broken laugh. "You didn't mean to. Or you didn't care." She didn't answer. And that silence, it was louder than a scream. I left both of them. Cancelled the wedding. Blocked their numbers. Packed my things. And for the first time in my life, I didn't tell Janelle she'd be okay. I didn't rescue her. I didn't clean up her mess. I walked out of her life. But the story didn't end there. Because weeks later, when I thought I'd healed enough to breathe, something happened. Something that made me realize my sister wasn't just trying to steal my fiancé. She was trying to steal my entire life. And that's when I decided she deserved a gift she would never forget. I wish I could tell you that walking away was the end. That betrayal ends cleanly. That pain fades quietly. That once you close the door, people stay behind it. But real life doesn't work like that. People who break you once often come back with sharper knives. And Janelle, my sister, she wasn't finished hurting me. Not yet. The weeks after the breakup were heavy. Not loud, not dramatic. Just heavy. Like someone had placed a brick on my chest, and I had to relearn how to breathe around it. I took long walks. I prayed. I cooked simple meals. I let myself cry when I needed to. Everybody kept telling me, time heals everything. But time isn't medicine. Time just gives you the space to apply it. One morning I looked in the mirror, puffy eyes, tired face, and whispered, "You deserve better, Monica." And for a moment, I believed it. But healing has a cruel pattern. Just when you start to rise, something tries to drag you back down. And my something showed up in the form of a phone call. A quiet afternoon at the community center. When my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Normally I ignore those. But something made me answer. A soft voice said, "Hi, is this Monica Harris?" "Yes, who's calling?" "This is Dr. Langston from Uptown Women's Clinic. I'm calling regarding your appointment this morning." My chest tightened. "I'm sorry, you have the wrong person. I wasn't at any clinic." There was a pause. A long one. Then she cleared her throat and said, "We have a woman registered under your name, same date of birth, same address." She confirmed the information herself. I felt the blood leave my face. "What was the appointment for?" I asked. She hesitated, then answered, "Prenatal care." My heart stopped. I wasn't pregnant. I hadn't even been intimate with anyone since Aaron. My voice shook. "You're saying someone came in pretending to be me?" "She provided your ID number," the doctor said softly. It seemed serious, so I wanted to confirm. I felt dizzy. Like the ground shifted under me. There was only one person who had enough of my personal information. One person careless enough and bold enough to use my name. Janelle. But why? Why would she pretend to be me at a pregnancy appointment? My mind raced. My stomach twisted. The doctor spoke again. "If this is identity fraud, we do recommend you contact." I hung up. I didn't need another word. I needed answers. And I knew exactly where to find them. I drove straight to Janelle's apartment. Anger shaking in my hands. Fear burning in my throat. And a storm building inside my chest. I didn't knock. I opened the door with the old spare key she forgot I had. She was in the kitchen, humming to herself. "Monica, what are you doing?" I held up my hand. "No lies, not today. Tell me why a clinic called me about a prenatal appointment under my name." Her entire face changed. Her smile faded. Her eyes widened. Her chest rose with a sharp breath. "Monica, I can explain." "Explain what?" My voice wasn't loud. It was steady. Cold. The kind of tone you get when your pain has nowhere left to go. She trembled slightly. "I didn't want people to know yet," she whispered, hands shaking. "I didn't want the news spreading." My heart pounded. "What news?" She swallowed. "I'm pregnant." The world blurred around me. Pregnant. 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 With who? I knew the answer. Before the question even left my mouth, I knew. But I asked anyway because maybe a small part of me still hoped she wouldn't say it. "Who is the father, Janelle?" She looked down. My voice cracked. "Is it Aaron?" She didn't speak. She didn't have to. Her silence screamed it. My knees felt weak. My breath came sharp. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I whispered, "You stole him, and now you stole the life I was supposed to have." She looked up suddenly, eyes defensive. "I didn't steal him, he came to me. He said you were too controlling." "Stop." I stepped back, shaking. "Don't you dare blame this on me. You knew he was mine." You knew we were building a future. You watched me love him. Tears filled her eyes, but I felt nothing. Nothing at all. Then she said something I will never forget. It was meant to be Monica. Maybe I was the one he should have been with. A sharp, cold pain shot through my chest. My sister. My own blood. Standing there telling me my heartbreak was destiny. I wanted to scream. To break something. To run until my lungs burned. But instead, I grew quiet. Very quiet. Because that is the moment I realized. She didn't just betray me. She didn't just steal from me. She wanted my future. My life. My happiness. For herself. And that is when a new thought entered my mind. Calm, steady, crystal clear. She thinks she's won. She has no idea what's coming. I turned toward the door. Janelle grabbed my arm. Monica, please don't abandon me. I need you. I've always needed you. I pulled my arm away. No, you needed my money. My support. My loyalty. Her eyes filled with tears. But I'm your sister. I shook my head. No, sisters don't destroy each other. Sisters don't take what isn't theirs. Sisters don't lie, cheat, and manipulate. She started crying harder. But I felt nothing. Just a quiet, heavy numbness. I walked to the door. Before I stepped out, I said, "You took something from me, Janelle. And you think you're walking away with a victory." I turned my head slightly. "But you don't know what I know. You don't know the whole truth." She blinked. "What truth?" I looked her dead in the eyes. "The truth about Aaron. About what he told me. About what he wrote down." Her face twisted with fear. Because she didn't know. She didn't know there were things he confessed to me. Things she never imagined. Things that would destroy the perfect image she had in her mind. I stepped out the door and said, "You wanted my life. Now you're about to see the parts of it you never expected." And I walked away. Not broken. Not defeated. Not small. But ready. Ready to give her a gift she would never forget. Because the truth. The real truth. Janelle had no idea what kind of man she was tangled up with. And I was about to let the truth burn everything down. You might think the worst part of betrayal is the moment your heart breaks. But it is. The worst part is waking up the next day and realizing the sun still rises, the world still moves, and you still have to live with the wound someone else created. But wounds are strange things. They hurt, and then they teach. And mine, it taught me exactly how strong I could be when I had nothing left to lose. That strength is what carried me into the next chapter, the one where everything finally came to light. I spent days thinking, not about revenge, not about getting even, but about truth. My sister chose to betray me. My fiancé chose to lie to me. But for the first time in my life, I chose me. I remembered the last conversation I had with before he left me, the one where he looked tired, guilty, like a man full of secrets sweating through his shirt. He had handed me an envelope and said, "If anything ever happens between us, open this." I never opened it. The breakup happened so suddenly. I threw it into a drawer. and forgot about it. But now that my sister was carrying his baby, now that she'd stolen everything, I felt something inside me whisper, "Open it." I found the envelope buried under old papers. My hands trembled as I tore it open. Inside were two things: a letter, a folded legal document. My eyes ran over the letter first, and with every sentence, my heart went from sadness to shock to something colder than ice. It read, "Monica, I haven't been honest with you. I'm in trouble, real trouble. Money trouble, legal trouble. And the only reason I stayed by your side was because I needed a stable image for my court case. You were my good woman cover. I'm sorry." My breath caught. I kept reading. "There's more. I know your sister likes attention, and I used that. She chased me, and I didn't stop her. But I never loved her. I never even planned to stay with her. She was just easy." My hands shook. Tears fell. Not for him, for the woman my sister had become, but the last lines. They were the ones that changed everything. "If she ever gets pregnant, she won't know the truth about me. But you will. Show her this only if she crosses a line." I laughed. A bitter, broken laugh. She crossed 10 lines. Then I unfolded the legal document. It was a restraining order, filed by his previous ex-fiancé. Stalking, manipulation, financial theft, lies, deception. She wrote a full statement describing him as a charming liar who destroys women who trust him. I wiped my tears. No, this wasn't my pain anymore. This was her warning. My sister wanted a man so badly. She didn't even know the darkness she was walking into. And maybe the gift she would never forget wasn't revenge. Maybe it was the truth. I waited 2 days. Let the anger settle. Let the clarity rise. Then I placed everything: the letter, the restraining order, and a simple handwritten note inside a clean white envelope. On the front, I wrote one word: "For you." No bitterness, no yelling, just truth. I drove back to her apartment and slipped the envelope under her door. I didn't wait. I didn't knock. I didn't stay. I walked away with the quiet confidence of a woman who finally knows her worth. That night at 11:43 p.m., I got a call. Not a normal call. A call filled with the kind of shaking that comes from seeing your entire world fall apart. She whispered, voice cracking, "Monica, why didn't you tell me?" I didn't answer. She sobbed harder. "You knew what kind of man he was. Why didn't you stop me?" My voice was calm. "I tried to stop you for years, Janelle. But you never listened. Not when I warned you about toxic men. Not when I begged you to stop hurting yourself. Not when you chose him over me." She cried like a child. "I thought he loved me. I thought I could change him." Her voice broke. "And now I'm pregnant. With a man who's using me. The same way he used you." I closed my eyes. "Janelle, you weren't pregnant with love. You were pregnant with his lies." There was silence on the phone. Heavy, painful, real. 2 days later, she showed up at my door. Not dressed up. Not proud. Not pretending. Just human. Her makeup was smudged. Her eyes were swollen. Her hair was messy. She didn't look like my enemy. She didn't look like the woman who stole my future. She looked like a girl who had finally run out of places to hide. She whispered, "I ended it. With him." I told him I knew everything. He tried to lie. Then he got angry. Then he threatened me. My heart tightened. I packed my bags. I left. "Monica, I'm scared." I stepped aside and let her in. Not because she deserved it. Not because I forgot the pain. But because she was my sister. And broken people sometimes need a hand. More than a lesson. We sat quietly for a long time. No apologies yet. No forgiveness yet. Just silence. Then she whispered, "That envelope. That was your gift, wasn't it?" I nodded. "A gift you'd never forget." She wiped her eyes. "Why didn't you pick revenge instead?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. And realized something. Revenge is loud. But truth is permanent. So I told her. Because revenge breaks a person. But truth breaks the chains. She cried into her hands. Then she whispered something I'd waited my whole life to hear. "Monica, I'm sorry. For everything. For him. For hurting you. For choosing myself over you." My chest softened. Finally, I reached out and gently held her hand. "Janelle, this doesn't fix the past. But maybe it can save your future." She nodded, still crying. "I don't deserve you." I smiled sadly. "Maybe not. But you needed me." The months that followed were slow. And imperfect. And full of small steps. I didn't instantly forgive her. Pain doesn't vanish like that. She didn't become a new person overnight. Healing doesn't happen like that. But she cut ties with Aaron completely. Filed a protection order. Started therapy. Found support groups. She began rebuilding herself. Piece by shaky piece. As for me, I started living again. Not for a man. Not for a picture-perfect life. Not for appearances. For me. I painted my walls brighter colors. Bought flowers every Sunday. Took long drives on quiet mornings. Laughed again. Healed again. And slowly, the sister I lost began to return. Not perfect. Not flawless. But honest. And that was enough. 1 year later, on a calm spring morning, Janelle came to visit me. She looked healthier, wiser, older in the best way. She hugged me and whispered, "I think about that envelope every day. That was the moment my life changed." I smiled. "It wasn't the envelope, Janelle. It was the truth." She nodded. "And you were brave enough to give it to me." We sat on my porch, 2 grown women, full of scars and stories, watching the sun rise. She reached for my hand and said, "I stole your fiancé. I almost stole your future. but you gave me something back instead. What's that? I asked gently. A second chance. Her words warmed something in my chest. Because sometimes the best revenge is choosing peace in a world that expects you to choose war. And sometimes the greatest gift is the one that breaks you open, just enough to let the light in. If this story touched your heart, if you've ever been betrayed, if you've ever had to rebuild yourself after someone tried to break you, then come sit with me again, baby. There are more stories to tell, more hearts to heal, and more truths to rise from. Hit like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more real stories told straight from the soul. Because Auntie Carol always says, life might break you, but it will also make you stronger than you ever imagined.